These 5-minute radio programs were recorded in 2021 by Jim McDonald for broadcast by KDET in Center, Texas. We hope you'll benefit from these and share them with others.
Good morning, friends. Welcome once more to 5 Minutes with the Word. Once, when Jesus was teaching, 4 men attempted to bring a friend who was palsied to Jesus. They believed Jesus could heal him. But they could not get their friend close to Jesus because of the great crowd around him. They went on the roof of a house, broke it open, and let their friend down on the bed they had brought him on into the very presence of Jesus. Jesus saw their faith. He said to the palsied man, "Son, be of good cheer, thy sins are forgiven." And behold, certain of the scribes said within themselves, "This man blasphemes. Who can forgive sin but one, even God?" And Jesus, perceived in his spirit that they so reasoned within themselves, said unto them, "Why reason you these things in your heart? Which is easier to say, Thy sins are forgiven, or to say, Arise, and take up thy bed and walk? But that you may know that the Son of Man hath authority on earth to forgive sins, he saith to the sick of palsy, Arise, take up thy bed, and go to thy house. And he arose and took up his bed. Mark 2, 1 through 11. Which is easier to say, Thy sins be forgiven thee, or to a palsied man, Arise and walk? The latter would be harder to do, of course. And if Jesus could do that which was harder, he could do that which was easier to say. He could forgive sins. And since only God can forgive sins, Jesus is God. Let us examine this one named Jesus. He had power over nature. He stilled a raging storm, calmed the boisterous sea. He had power to change water to wine, to multiply 5 loaves and 2 fishes into a feast that would feed 5,000 men, beside women and children. And when all had eaten and were full, still had 12 baskets full of remnants left over. Matthew 14. He could raise men from the dead. He had power to cast out evil spirits. He could cause those born blind to have perfect sight. Whatever ailment afflicted man, Jesus was master of them all. The deaf heard, the mute spoke, lepers were cleansed. Jesus also knew the lives of people, what they did, what they thought, what was the condition of their lives. Once, when he was in the temple, he saw people give into the treasury. He knew what each one gave, and he looked at a woman. He knew she was a widow. He knew she had given but 2 mites, a very small amount, and yet knew that was all she had. Early in his ministry, he met a man named Nathanael. When Nathanael approached him, Jesus said, "Behold, an Israelite indeed, in whom there's no guile." Nathanael was astonished and asked how he knew him. Jesus said, "Before Philip called thee, when thou wast under the fig tree, I saw thee." Jesus met a Samaritan woman at a well, engaged her in conversation. Then he told the woman, "Go call your husband." She responded, "I have no husband." Jesus said, "You have rightly spoken, for you have had 5 husbands, and he whom thou now hast is not thy husband. John 4, 16 through 18. Jesus not only had power to know what individuals had done, or were, or had, he had power to know what they would do. He knew Peter would deny him 3 times. He knew Judas would betray him for 30 pieces of silver. And friend, he knows what we think, what we say, what we do that. He can do that because he's God. Someday you and I will face him and answer to him for the deeds we've done in the body. How wonderful it would be to stand and have the forgiveness of our sins. And you may do so. Jesus said, "He that believeth and is baptized shall be saved."